Well, it's around 7:45 and we're just on the way down to Port Mulgrave to see what today we'll find. Hopefully some nice bone, if not a good selection of ammonite. So fingers crossed. Alright?
Alright.
Long way down, but I love it. Worth it. Look at that view. Stunning. Start of the steps. These first ones are a little bit sketchy at times, but nice and dry today, so hopefully Chris won't be on his backside. The new ones that have gone in are great though. They're nice and uniform, I think is the best way to describe them. So hopefully before too much longer the final ones will be finished all the way down to the bottom. So we're just at the top of the steps here. There's the old ropeway down, but we're going to opt for the lovely new steps. Really? Oh well. Maybe give that a look. How nice is this? Somebody down there on one of the little shacks. So at the bottom of the steps and just about to make the final little approach to Port Mulgrave itself, just down there. But I always like to stop and just have a little scan around, because it really is absolutely beautiful, this place. Steeped in history too, the old harbour. Used to ship ironstone, I think it used to come all the way from Rosedale. Incredible place. Little shot of the little huts. Once fishermen's huts, I believe, but now seem to be occupied by a whole host of different folk. Apparently there is a unwritten rule that you can build them pretty much anywhere you want, as long as it's not directly in front of somebody else's, as long as it's built out of found materials. Just up there, just over the top of that hut, is the tunnel that would have brought the iron ore all the way through to the coast. Blocked off, but apparently there is a slight gap that you can get in, but I've no desire to do that. And then we're looking up there, that's all of the shale limestone on top, so you like see maybe a dinosaur footprints would be up in the sandstone at the top. There's a bit of carboniferous material coming out of there, so we found some horsetail fossils, but the place that we are heading is off to the right here, and just round to that first headland. Let's see what we can find. Just working our way along the rocky section of the shore there. Nothing so far, nothing to write home about. The weather's been quite calm really, and there hasn't been any rain, so there hasn't been any significant falls from the cliff, and it's these cliffs that give up their secrets. So we'll keep on looking, just loving the fact we're down here literally on our own. There is not a soul around. Love it. I'll show you this rock. This is it's not a fossil, it's something which is called cone and cone, which is a geological feature that a lot of people mistake as a fossil, but still quite cool to see. And there's the remains of a rather large nodule which somebody's already split open. And that is why you don't go too close to the cliffs. Since we've come down, you can hear little bits running down there, and that cliff has just given up from quite high up, so you really didn't want to be underneath that. Okay, so little word of warning to anybody who thinks it's okay to hammer at the cliffs or to get really close, it's not worth it. Just so you can see just how abundant the fossils are here, there's a little bit of shale there. You can see the imprint of an ammonite, and a couple of smaller ones in there. No good to collect, it's just too brittle, literally just falls apart, but they're absolutely everywhere. So it was getting rather fragrant as we were walking along, which was quite evident that something had died, and I believe we found it. This, I am pretty sure, about 2 weeks ago, I believe it was Colin Hebb was fossil hunting here, and he'd found literally a freshly deceased deer that looked like it had come off the cliff. So nature's taking care of that in a short space of time. So just hunting through the shale and come across just a small belemnite in there. Again, very fragile, but still nice to see. So I've just split open a rather odd shaped nodule to expose what looks like a very much crushed harpo or harpocerus ammonite, I believe. I'll stand corrected if anybody can advise me otherwise. I'm still pretty new to this game, but I'm just pretty sure that's what it is. And then there's a very small ammonite in the shale there. So just come around the corner there, it looks like there's been a recent fall. You can see the different colour in the cliff there, so not get too close, but have a little route through the bottom edge of this. So just searching through this recent fall and picking away little bits of shale. There's various little bivalves and shells in there, but I did come across one. Let's have a look, see if I can identify it. I do believe that could be a Dactylioceras. Whether it'll prep, I'm sure we'll get something out of it, so I'll take that away. Nice little bivalve just popped out of the shale there. This is quite enjoyable actually, going through the bits of shale and just giving them a little tap. They're all loose, but there's another little nodule there. Again, I don't know quite what condition that'll be in, but worth a shot. Just having a little look along the beach just to see if there's anything being kind of washed up by the sea or kind of anything of interest, but I have spotted nothing fantastic. But just here is a well sea worn partial, can't even tell what it is, so I'm not even going to guess. So I'm just on the far end of this bay, and this is what I believe is known as the bituminous shale. If you look down there, that looks very much like a fossilised piece of wood, and this shale really does smell like bitumen if you start breaking it apart, and I believe this is the stuff that they kind of look for when they're exploring for gas and oil. Interesting stuff. So we've walked around to that headland, come back round, and we're going to make it over to the far side, I think. Just have a look over there and see if there's anything of interest. See you shortly. So this is part of the old, I suppose, harbour wall that formed the port. A lot of remains of, I guess it's industrial past. It's obviously in a bit of a bad state nowadays, but still interesting to see. So I'm pretty sure that the red stone that we're looking at here is the remains of ironstone, which would have been the main industry shipped out of here all those years ago. On the other side here, cliffs are much smaller, but I wouldn't say particularly stable. So just having a quick look in, and that, I believe, is a vein of Whitby jet. Somebody's had a go at trying to extract from the cliff, I think. Lunchtime, I think, so time for a Nice cup of Yorkshire tea. And then we're going to press on, maybe just around that corner. That's where I managed to find some horsetail. So we'll see what comes up today. So Chris has found in a bit of sandstone what looks to be like possibly horsetail. So just giving it a few gentle taps to see if it'll come out. Quite brittle though. So just falling through this. It's more of a slip than a fall, I think. But there's some sandstone blocks falling from the top. Pretty much all of them full of horsetail. So just leave that one. A bit too big to carry, and I could chip away at it, but it's quite hard and fragile at the same time. So just leave it. Just clambered up to this slightly precarious vantage point, but you can see where we've come from. That's Kettleness in the distance, and just after that you got Runswick Bay, and then that brings you out to Port Mulgrave, and then continue round to the other side. Around that corner should be Staithes, I believe. So I've just come up from down there, left Chris to his chiselling, and it's much more sort of stable here in the lower part, but you see all the sandstone up there, which would have originally been right at the top. But even up here, it's quite evident when you have a look. People must have been here beforehand, but still, these things are just, they're in the cliffs, they're in abundance everywhere. If you haven't smelled this stuff before, gorse bushes, they smell like coconut, absolutely amazing. Such a beautiful place. Well, that's us pretty much done. The tide is telling us it's time to go back, so we're going to head back around that corner and off up the steps back to the car. We've had a reasonably okay haul. We got a few nodules, dacks, belemnites, no bone, no vertebrae, but you know what, it's just good to be out and enjoying the fresh air, relatively people free too, which is nice. Okay, see you at the top. On our way back up, and it is decision time, so I think Chris is opted for the almost finished steps, and I'm going to give it a go up the old rope. So let's see how it goes. It's not actually too bad, says he. It's the backpack pulls him backwards. Oh. Till next time, Port Mulgrave. Oh, that's a burn. That's a burn. What a place. Almost there. Come up the last little bit, the rugged rocks. A little bit of a challenge, but we're almost at the car. What do you say, Chris? Worth it?
No.
Absolutely worth it. We've got a reasonable haul. Two happy Durham lads, so we're good with that. So tell us, Chris, you know these new studs that make your wellies all-wheel drive, how did they work out for you?
Shite.
Let's have a look. Every single one of them gone. Oh well.
disappeared.